Hey everyone, Danny Maude here, head professional at the Canterbury Golf Club in Kent. And in this week's training, I've got bunkers, and boy, I love bunkers. Most people's pet hate, most people hate bunkers, but you know what? You probably heard it on TV, bunker shots for the professionals are supposed to be the easiest shot in golf. But obviously increasingly I hear at golf clubs is that this is an area, a part of the game that a lot of amateurs really struggle with, but there really is no need. There's a real simple action you can learn, and we're going to show you that today on how to get out the bunker shots nice and easily. Now, as in all my videos, I always say, look, none of this works without some practice and some effort and some persistence, but I promise you by the end of this video you'll have a really good understanding on how to get out of bunkers. So let's get started, and I'm going to start with first of all, what type of strike is required in a bunker shot. So first things first, in order to get out of a bunker we need a certain type of strike. Now, unlike normal shots, okay, in a normal shot from a fairway, there's always a direct connection with the golf ball, okay, and the golf club. We're trying to strike the ball with the club. In a bunker, we don't strike the ball at all with the golf club. In fact, what we're doing is we're actually striking the sand behind the golf ball, and there's almost like a deflection. So this is how it works. The club comes down at an angle, okay, downwards. It then slices the sand, goes beneath the surface of the golf ball. The back of the club, which we call the bounce, hits the sand, ricochets off the sand and bounces like this. So you might want to imagine almost like the letter V, where the club comes in and then out. In, out. So there's like a bounce, okay? So in order for that to happen, there's a few things that we've got to do in the actual swing itself to make it happen. So the first thing we're going to do is, we've said, well, you've heard me mention the bounce. Well, what is the bounce? The bounce is the back part of the golf club and is one of the key factors to getting out of a bunker. So what we do with that bounce is we twizzle the club face slightly open to the right. Now the way we do this is we don't just go, okay, Danny says turn it to the right and turn. Because if we do that, we haven't actually changed our grip. What's going to happen through impact is we're just simply going to turn back to here. So we're going to twizzle the club face to the right, then we're going to grip it. Now that's going to feel quite strange. I want you to watch out for this, because the habit I see with golfers when they do this is it feels really weird. So they start to shuffle it back, okay, without realizing they're eventually back to square. So open it and try your best to keep it there. That's the first thing. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to push the ball forward in our stance. We're going to push it off the left heel, way out of the way. Now, on a normal pitch shot or chip shot, you know that we're going to probably have the ball middle, if not sometimes back in the stance. Well, why do we push it forward in a bunker? Well, as we said at the start, we don't want to hit the ball at all. We want to hit the sand. So what we do is by pushing out of the way, it gives us room now, look, to actually strike that sand. Now, when we do this, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure, as we said, the next thing was we needed some form of descending blow. Now, this is the bit I find a lot of golfers get the first bit. They kind of twizzle the club face and it points a little bit to the right, and then they kind of shuffle their bodies a fraction to compensate to the left. They may even get the ball position right and push the ball forward. But the next bit is the bit that I found is the hardest for people to grasp, and that is the downward strike. Okay, what a lot of golfers I see doing is they see a bank in front of them like this and they just can't help trying to raise it and try to lift it out of the bunker. What that looks like is something like this. They're trying to lift it out of the bunker here, and whether that's leaning back, whether that's flicking with their wrists, but what's happening here is the club is going up. And can you see, what do we talk about in terms of actually the type of strike that is required? Is it this type of strike, going upwards? It's not, is it? When you go upwards, what happens? This bit comes up and we hit the ball with this bit and the ball goes too low. I'm going to show you that in a second. And what do we need? We don't need this strike, we need this strike, the V type strike, okay? We don't want it coming up too soon. We want it coming down so it ricochets below the surface and pops up. So what this looks like, well, from this angle, you see my club tends to work up and down, up and down, and is very much committed. So I'm actually going to go up here, and I'm going to go down into the sand. I'll try and do it as slow as I can so I can see up, down. and the ball pops up and almost into the hole. So let's go through that again. So what we're going to do is we've pushed the ball forward, we've opened the face of the club, and what we're trying to do here is get an up and downward strike. Now, things that may help you to do this more consistently. So the first thing we do is this. I want you to focus on the first third of your golf club here, the first section, and I want you to imagine that that's slicing into the sand here. It's slicing into the sand. It's going up and down, it's actually slicing down. And what you're trying to do here is you're going to try to slice deep into the sand here to encourage that bounce to operate and pop up. As I said, most golfers, they tend to hit up on the golf ball too soon and leave it in the bunker. The other thing I see them doing is I see them, because it's such a short distance, I see them quitting on the shot. They tend to make a long backswing here, but because they're in fear of the ball going too far, they slow down and they end up kind of stopping. And when our bodies stall or stop, what happens when our bodies stop is we kind of get crumped and we start hitting up on the ball again. And what that does, we hit the ball as opposed to sand, and the ball is left in the bunker. So what we want to try and do is we want to make sure that we fully committed through the shot. Even if that goes too long, that's fine, at least we get some learning. But it's very important to swing down and have that commitment going through the shot. When we commit through the shot, it really increases the likelihood that you're going to strike the sand first and get a ball popping up. So now let's work on 2 or 3 ways that you could go and practice this in a practice bunker. So the first thing I would do is, and it kind of depends on what level you're at the moment. If you're at a level where, you know what, you've really been struggling to get the ball out of a bunker, then what I would suggest is the first stage is actually don't try and hit the golf ball, so don't try and get the ball out at all. The first stage is to see if you can actually just make connection with the sand. And what I would do to help you with this is I'd draw a line with your golf club straight down like this. And then what I'd do is make sure that line is maybe 2 or 3 inches inside your left heel. And what you want to try and do is simply this. Start to make some swings where you're starting to strike that line. Okay? Now, this is really useful because when you've got a line like this, you'll be able to identify exactly where you're striking or not striking the sand. A lot of times when people do this, they either miss the sand completely, which is learning in itself, so you just keep persisting until you start to strike the line. Or what they do is they start to strike way behind the line. And that is usually because what they're doing is they are leaning back and again just trying to help it without them realizing. But the great thing about the line is it gives you that evidence. It kind of helps you think, oh, okay, that's what I'm doing. I must be leaning back. So doing some swings repeatedly without a ball means that, one, you're not seeing the negative results of the shot staying in the bunker. So if you've got a great psychology, it kind of doesn't really matter, you know. But for a lot of us, if you keep hitting bad shots, it kind of gets us down, and that really can get in the way of our progress. So without a ball, draw a line and start to hit it. The second thing you can do is once you've done that and you start to strike that line a bit more consistently, the next thing to do is simply to observe how you're striking the sand. Now this is quite important. We're not going to observe whether the ball goes out. Often what happens when people are learning this, they leave the ball in the bunker and immediately the frustration starts to set in and the learning stops and the progress stops. What we want to be able to do is think, right, in time the ball will come out. Let's focus on, again, the first part of the session, how to strike the sand. So let's focus on striking the sand by slicing down into it, getting the bounce working and go, right, brilliant, strike the sand. Whether the ball goes out or not is not important. Am I hearing that sound, that nice splash into the sound? Is the club coming down? Where is it coming down? Is it coming down roughly 2 or 3 inches behind the ball, or is the club coming down way behind the ball? Pay attention to those things as you're striking the sand. Then you'll get some learning. And the third and final thing, what I often see again is when people are playing bunker shots, they tend to lose commitment, they tend to stall. So what I want to see here is this fully commitment. Now, if that means when you're in a practice bunker, you do something like this, and the ball goes way too far and flies over the green, doesn't matter. This is all part of the process. All it basically means if the ball goes too far when you're committing is that you hit the golf ball too much and not enough sand. Still keep that commitment through the shot, because when you do look, that's a fully committed shot, the ball's going to pop up. All right, now there is a few more things in the bunkers to add to this, but this is just a start for you. I will release some more bunker videos as the weeks go on, but if you've got any questions in the meantime, really please put them in the comments box below, and I'll answer them over the coming weeks. Until next time, have a great golfing week.